सोचा कि हम किसी ऐसे लीडर से बात करें जो भारत और अमेरिका की रिलेशनशिप के एक बहुत बड़े चैंपियन हैं और साथ ही साथ जिन्होंने इस रिलेशनशिप को बहुत पहले से और बहुत बारीकी से देखा है। हमारे साथ आज जुड़ने वाले हैं एम्बेसडर अतुल कश्यप, जो अब करंटली यूएस इंडिया बिजनेस चैंबर्स के प्रेसिडेंट है। तो मैं आपको अभी हम बात करेंगे यूएसआईबीसी चेयरमैन अतुल कश्यप से। और अब हमारे साथ यूएस इंडिया बिजनेस काउंसिल के प्रेसिडेंट फॉर्मर एम्बेसडर अतुल कश्यप है, जिन्होंने भारत और अमेरिका की रिलेशनशिप को बहुत नजदीकी से देखा है, देखा ही नहीं बढ़ाया है। और ये भारत और अमेरिका की रिलेशनशिप को लेकर एक बहुत बड़े चैंपियन है। इन्होंने बहुत सारे रोल्स में काम किया है, इन्होंने व्हाइट हाउस में काम किया है, ये एम्बेसडर रह चुके हैं भारत में अमेरिका के। और अब इनके कंधों पर एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेदारी है, वो है भारत और अमेरिका की रिलेशनशिप को, बिजनेसेस को आगे बढ़ाना। एम्बेसडर कश्यप, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर डूइंग दिस।
I'm delighted to be with you, Rohit, and with all of your viewers. Thank you so much for having me. Dhanyavad.
Just out of, very simple, for the audience, can you walk us through some of the milestones between India and the US relationship since 1947, and what were the game changers, if you can?
All right. Rohit, I was born in 1971, which was arguably the worst year in US-India relations. And now I am standing with you in front of the White House. We've got the state visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I think we are at the very height of relations of my entire life, and I'm so happy about that. Think about our relationship in the 40s and 50s and 60s. 40s and 50s, it was about helping young India get on its feet economically, helping India develop world-class universities and IITs, helping India feed its people through the Green Revolution, helping with scientific collaborations, even on things like outer space research and also nuclear energy. Those kinds of things were the seeds of our modern relationship. In 1962, we came to India's aid promptly to help it ward off the Chinese. And I think that showed the great affinity of the world's oldest democracy for the world's newest at that time democracy, but now also the world's largest democracy.
Sure.
So we have had very deeply friendly relations and feelings toward India for a long time. The amount of respect for Mahatma Gandhi as the father of India in this country, his statue sits on Massachusetts Avenue. So there's a lot of love of India. Hundreds of millions of people in America know the words yoga and karma and dharma. These are Indian concepts that are universal, and now Americans have integrated them into their lives. So to have the Prime Minister of India come is extremely exciting. Let me talk about 1971 up to now. We had very tough times, 1970s, 1980s. We were on sort of different sides of the Cold War. And yet we kept friendly relations. We had President Carter's visit in 1978. And then there was a bit of a pause. The Cold War ended and we were looking for relevance. We had Bill Clinton's visit in 2000. We had a landmark moment in 2005, right when I landed at the U.S. Embassy in 2005 in New Delhi. Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and President George W. Bush announced the nuclear deal. And the nuclear deal was about taking our nuclear energy partnership forward, but more importantly, it was about putting our past decades of problems behind us and moving them into history and building a new relationship of trust. That nuclear deal helped open India to the world. It helped be India's passport to the world, and it helped unleash the strategic convergence that the United States and India have now. From the nuclear deal, we built up our counterterrorism relationship, our intelligence relationship, our defense relationship, military exercises, diplomatic coordination in Africa, in the Indian Ocean region, in the Far East. We built up our trilateral relationship with Japan, which led to the Quad, which I would argue is one of the most important things we've done in diplomacy in the past 20 years. The Quad has led now, and all of this, the nuclear deal, has led to a moment of strategic, economic, and technological convergence where we now are poised for escape velocity. We can now take the U.S.-India relationship to its full potential. When I was a kid, as a little child coming to India, I was greeted with a lot of skepticism because I was an American. Even at the family dinner table, there was a lot of hostility toward the United States. A lot of that is gone now. We have a wonderful relationship. And so I think now is the time to be ambitious.
Now, I have to ask you this. You recently concluded a very successful India Idea Summit, right? And we've obviously seen a lot of high, ranking people come to the in attendance and talk about it. And I was there too, listening and absorbing everything. One does get a sense that this is, India's moment. I mean, I would want you to speak about that as well.
Rohit, thank you. Thank you for coming to the Ideas Summit. We were very proud and pleased to have Secretary of State Tony Blinken speak to us. Our guest of honor was Indian Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu, who's my very dear friend. We also had the United States Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, United States Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo. We had the Indian Minister of Health, the Honorable Mansukh Mandavia, and many, many, many others across the Pentagon, State Department, Commerce Department, Treasury, et cetera, et cetera. Look, the bottom line on this summit was that we and our member companies of USIBC are votaries and supporters of the idea that the US and India should be the two best friends in the world, and that together the world's two largest democracies can achieve anything, that we can achieve $500 billion in trade and investment between our two countries, that we can achieve incredible prosperity for the people of India, incredible happiness and prosperity for the people of America, and security and stability for both of our countries and our 1.8 billion citizens. So we're very happy about the Ideas Summit, and now we're rolling right into a major defense discussion called Indus X, which we're hosting at the United States Chamber right over there in just a few days, and it's going to be fantastic.
Now, with the Prime Minister's visit, everybody wants to know, right? What's next for this relationship? What kind of deal would be announced? And I know, nobody wants to speak, before President Biden and Prime Minister Modi is at the White House. But just out of curiosity, some of the things that we've heard about the GE engines, we've talked about manufacturing, we've talked about economy. What's your view of what we can see, something conclusive out of this relationship? I mean, out of this visit, rather.
I think the American people and American business and American government all want to see India be a $30 trillion economy. They believe in that powerful, ambitious vision that Indians have of themselves. I think our companies at USIBC are going, not only have they helped build modern India up to this point, some of our companies have been in India since 1901, but they are going to help build India to that 30 trillion. And it's going to lift hundreds of millions of people to a totally transformed way of life. So what's critical? Number one, I think we need deals. We need energy deals that bring our two countries closer together and ensure India's energy security and ensure India's energy transition. Those are big dollar deals because India is a big economy. It's growing. It's going to be the third largest economy on earth. Energy deals, defense deals so that we can have shared deterrence and we can make the other guy think twice about doing anything against our people. So I'm really positive and optimistic about energy deals, defense deals. I want to see digital economy deals, e-commerce, supply chain, manufacturing, electronics, semiconductors. I say yes to all, Rohit, yes to all, and let India give us the conditions of policy and regulation and taxation that allow our companies to invest heavily. They are very bullish on India.
There are a lot of people talking about, having India less reliant on Russia and Russian weaponry, right? A lot of talk about, obviously the GE engines, the drones, maybe the F-18s. I mean, what are you hearing? What are some of these, people telling you, or what have you picked up from, some of these conversations?
Rohit, I can tell you, well, first of all, let me say, these decisions are sovereign decisions, and they will be made by the government and people of India, right? And we respect that. But what I would say on behalf of American platforms is they are reliable. Long haul, they are cost effective because they require much less maintenance. They are technologically at the top of the game, and we're seeing that right around the world right now as weapon systems are being deployed in combat. These are systems that work. They actually work. They actually deliver what they promise. And the other great thing about American defense companies is we adhere to the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. We are completely compliant with federal law in this regard. India's acquisitions can be at the same price that the United States taxpayer pays. And these are world-class systems backed up by world-class companies with the best technology. So on the Reaper drones, the MQ-9s, the Guardians, on the F-18s, on the GE 414 engines. I've seen all of the press reports you've seen. Let's let the governments make the news. But I can tell you, and I can tell the Indian taxpayer, if you buy these platforms, you are going to get a fantastic level of defense for your nation and ensure its ability to deter any foreign power from trying to start anything with you.
Two more questions. Russia, we talked about Russia, right? I mean, What's what kind of role can India play, in helping resolve this conflict, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and then from this visit, where does the U.S. see India in terms of as a multilateral global player in world politics?
The rise of India in world affairs is one of the best news stories of the 21st century. American people love India. They love what India represents. They love the people of India. They welcome them with open arms in the millions. Hundreds of thousands of Indian students are here in America. And I think we want to see India achieve all of its dreams because it's good for India. It's good for America. It's good for democracy. It's good for free people all around the world. So to answer your question, if you look at how India has comported itself in world affairs, India helped liberate and free the world in World War I and World War II. Sure. Soldiers of India helped free the world from fascism and from totalitarianism. Indian peacekeepers helped secure the entire world. They are leaders in peacekeeping in Africa and many other places. India is a believer in a rules-based international order. India has peacefully submitted to binding arbitration where maritime claims have differed. If other great powers acted the way India does, we wouldn't have the tensions that we have in the Pacific Ocean and in the Indo-Pacific. India is a model for how great powers ought to operate. And that's why Americans love India so much, and that's why we're delighted Prime Minister Modi is here.
Okay, and before we let you go, I have to make you speak in Hindi.
Oh, no.
So anything, because ours is a primarily Hindi channel. So anything you would like to say to all the Indians watching you on TV9 Bharatvarsh in Hindi?
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम अतुल कैशप है। मुझे आशा है कि हमारे दोनों देशों के बीच में हमारे संबंध इतने मजबूत हो जाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Ambassador Kashyap, for doing this. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Rohit, how nice.
Thank you.